Steven Shred, it has been too long, sir. I think we're back after I don't know how long it's been, but what's up, dude?
Not much, man. Just going through it. It has been quite a long time, like thinking about it.
Yes. It's been a while since I think I think we've both been itching to get back at it. Um and I just before all that happens, man, I know you just got done with tour, so I want you to break that down real fast. How was tour? Where at all did you go? Um, any crazy experiences? Anyone throwing themselves at you?
Tour was solid. We hit Vegas, then we went to Colorado. We did a couple dates in Texas, and then we ended in New Mexico. And super solid. Oh, Arizona as well. But
Arizona.
yeah, Arizona is definitely going to become one of the best spots that we go to. Was out with a band called Red Keep, and we've gone now twice to Arizona. And the second time, there were a bunch of people from the first time, so getting return customers, so it's looking pretty good. As far as crazy stuff, nothing really stands out. It's just a lot of the long haul, just going from place to place, just exhausting. But
Yes.
tours gonna get longer and longer, man. It's a lot of fun.
That would be the goal, right? Just to be out there as long as you can until it's just like, all right, I'm tired, guys. I'm good.
Yeah, we could have done another month, and I would have been fine.
You know what? I understand that. I I just don't want to miss you when the fights happen because you sit down as each week as often as we can at least to sit down and watch these fights and to like react with them and all of our buddies and stuff like that. But speaking of reactions, I want to get your reaction to this. Jamahal Hill has been making a lot of noise, and I mean a lot of noise on social media, specifically about the fight between him and uh, Alex Pereira. I know this kind of goes a little bit before that, but I just want to get your take on this and everything that he's been saying and how he's been saying it. So, Stephen Shred, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, are we talking about specifically the quick stoppage thing?
Yeah. I guess let's start with the quick stoppage and go from there, or at least what he's contesting from Herb Dean.
Yeah. So it's just weird because I'm seeing a lot of like, people with really good perspectives like agreeing with him, which is insane. The whole idea is that because Herb Dean stopped the action, it somehow made him take his foot off the pedal enough to where he's just this helpless little like, deer just walking into the slaughter. It makes no sense. It's a super weird argument, and he threw the first punch. It's super weird, but his whole argument is that because Herb Dean stopped the action and they literally just went immediately to go again, that threw him off, and that's why he got knocked out. Even though he wasn't looking very good in the exchanges leading up to it, and you could tell that Alex was just about to take over anyways. It makes no sense, and it's just, as the kids say, it's just ton of copium, everybody's just got their excuses, and Jamal is just so just drowned in the sauce that he is just going full force with this, and I thought it was gonna stop. I thought, at a certain point, he was gonna be like, "You know what? I lost, I got knocked out, it is what it is." But, all this time later, he's still on it.
I think the best argument that I heard was that Alex Pereira, even during the supposed reset, right? So when Herb Dean goes to say time, and you can see he's about to step in and he's about to break them up. Alex Pereira is still inching, like he's outside of kicking range, right? So he's just outside of like one step away from being in punching range, right? Because kicking is just outside of that. He stays stepping forward, and then of course, then he advances as soon as Herb Dean is gone, right? The fight's going. Jamal does throw the first straight left, and then Pereira hits him with the counter left. I think that's the best argument. However, in my, like, as I'm watching this right now, Jamahal Hill gets the reset quick high five, right? So we're I know I sent this video to you earlier, but the Red Wolf MMA breakdown, right? Pereira keeps advancing, steps on the toe, which that's a funny move to me. I fuck with the. I don't think it's highly, or I don't think it's legal per se, but it is kind of funny that that's what happens. Like you just catch dudes off guard with it. But yeah, I'm not exactly on Jamahal Hill's side here. He once you reset, or once you know that Herb Dean isn't going to fully reset you, which I agree, maybe there should have been a little bit more separation. But once you acknowledge that you're ready to go, that's it. Defend yourself at all times. That is the golden rule of combat sports. Unless I'm getting that wrong, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100% agree. He is the one that said he's good to go.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
per Jamahal Hill on his tweet here, Herb Dean stepped behind me and said, "Continue blocking my left side." This all happened in 4 seconds, so to say that didn't play a factor is retarded. I accept I should have been more on point and not showed sportsmanship, but when I wasn't given any, it was dumb on my part, but you learn. Is there any difference from what his tweet is saying to what you see on footage?
Well, I think we are ignoring one huge factor of all this.
What's
Alex is the one that got fouled. This all starts because Jamal kicked him in the nuts.
Yeah.
Why didn't that throw Alex off? You've been kicked in the nuts. It
Yeah.
throws you off.
Yeah,
So why isn't
yeah.
that taken into consideration? How come Alex is able to just back in after getting kicked in the nuts, but Jamal Hill is like, stop. Oh wait, no, keep going. Then he's like, what? What's happening? Huh? Like, why is he the one thrown off when he's not even the one that got fouled?
Yeah, you know what? Okay, that's a fair point. I'm not even. I think because it was more impressive that he got kicked on, like he got kicked in the nuts, told her no, 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 stay back, but then still had the awareness to, like, I'm gonna close the distance unless Herb Dean tells me not to, right? Which you honestly should, because if you look at how he closes the distance, it's not even with his front foot at first. That back foot comes in, which gives him the distance to put that front foot forward, right? It's like one of those, like, I'm trying to remember. I had someone when I was training a bunch. He was more of a karate guy, but that was one way of sneakily closing the distance, and that was something that I appreciated after the fact, especially like getting ready for this video, where it was this sequence. I watched this sequence over and over, and that was probably the biggest part of the entire thing, which I guess is why I wanted to get your opinion on whether or not you think that was more savvy on Alex Pereira's part, or was that a mess up on Herb Dean's? You know what I mean? Because one is like, well, defend yourself at all times, but the other is, no, this is what Jamahal Hill is kind of saying. I mean, there's more to it, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see it being as big of a deal. Like we have bigger things in MMA that are actually controversial. We talk about the Jose Aldo and Chad Mendez fight. The only reason why Jose Aldo gets that knockout is because he grabs the fence and holds onto it so he can't get taken down.
Yeah.
We got the whole what do they call it? Freaking ice skate.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep.
It's like we have things that were actual, like, you know, poorly managed situations or poor sportsmanship that, got looked over or wasn't noticed and resulted in the win of a fight. But then we have this where I feel like it's not really a thing. Like Herb Dean just did what he did. You know, to be fair, when things get called like that, do we really, unless there's a full like reset of, something happened, do we really see too many situations where they're told like you need to stand perfectly still, like don't do anything? Like unless it is a full on like, the whole like he took the foul and he's like, "Okay, you go stand there, no coaching." He stopped it real quick. Herb Dean's like, "All right," because at the end of the day, he got fouled. He says he's okay, so they're gonna continue.
Yeah.
You know, and then it was enough of a reset. They're both standing there. They're both looking at each other. Little high five thing. Is back in the action. If Alex just is in his mind, like trying to set up like what's about to happen once the action's set back in, that's him being a fighter. That's him having a killer instinct. It's not his fault that Jamal Hill doesn't have that same kind of mindset. And that's also why Jamal Hill is, in the situation getting he's the one getting knocked out.
Yeah, it's I you cannot assume that the fight will be reset um because you fouled the other person.
Yeah.
It is completely up to the person who was fouled, and the referee. Like if the referee wanted to stop and say no, 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 stop, reset, fine. But I'm gonna argue here as I'm looking at it. Right, I'm looking at one of MMA on Points posts. As I'm looking at it here, the fight was truly never stopped. Yes, Herb Dean made the motion to call for time. However, I don't think any time was taken off the clock if I'm looking at it here. And let me see here as I'm make sure I don't. Why did it? Let's see here. So he goes, yeah, he never. Yeah, the time never stops. So in terms of how it officially went, there was no time. So was there a foul? Yes. Was anything ever gonna happen after it? No. I think Alex Pereira was just kind of ready to go, ready to pounce at any moment, and like you said, that killer instinct is kind of what I think just naturally got him to close the distance and get that counter shot in. Listen, Jamahal Hill is taking on Yuri Prochazka, 311 here in LA, January 18th at the Intuit Dome. They're both coming off of a loss to Alex Pereira. Should their losses and what happened in those fights against Alex Pereira, should that hold any weight or any merit into how we view this next fight coming up?
Not necessarily well, if we're talking about it in the vein of like, what does this fight do for them? I don't think we take anything away from that because if you're losing to the champion and coming off of that loss,
I don't think anyone's
you're
mad at you. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's not like either of them performed the way that Khalil did, because I would say Khalil has been the best performing against Alex since Izzy. But, going into it, I would say the only thing is just their mentality after the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yuri's had 0 excuses. He got knocked out both times. He took it on the chin. He's like, it is what it is. He lost. He's trying to come back better. Jamal is looking for any excuse to stay relevant and stay with the mindset that he would have won that fight because he said that. He said that he was going to win that fight. But because that happened, it threw him off, and that's why he lost. I think that's going to be a huge factor because he's in this weird delusional mindset where he's the better striker and, he's going to do this and do that, and people don't deserve to fight him. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. Just the outcome of the fight in the fighters' minds,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to, you just lost to the champion. What do you think?
I have a couple opinions on that. So my main thing is yes, take the L for what it is. You got hit with a mean counter left that probably rocks 90 to 95% of that entire division. Okay. No one was I don't think anyone was upset with Jamahal Hill during the fight. It's like, okay, these accidents happen. Your nut shot wasn't even like low. It was like pretty high up. You can tell he was kind of going for the midsection. That's fine. It, like you said, it is how he reacted to the entire situation that I think got under the skin of fans. Don't get me wrong, Jamahal Hill is still funny. He's still funny as hell. I know you said you don't follow his Instagram. That's that's kind of a funny page to follow because of either the delusions or him responding to like couch potatoes, fucking sofa kings. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
he's a funny guy in that regard. But I would say he needs to not overlook Yuri Prohashka. He needs to not be focusing so much on all of that because he has a real challenge ahead of him. And more than likely, the loser of this fight is going to fight Khalil. And Khalil is a tough night for anybody, and you don't want to have to go through him. You like I don't mind if Jamahal Hill is talking so much shit because guess where it's going to get him if he beats Prohashka? It's going to get him to another title shot. Why? If I'm Alex Pereira and if I think I can beat him that easily, it's my job as a fighter to take the easiest fight for the most amount of money. That is, and that should be his mentality, but it's not. Alex Pereira is just going to take the fight that either the UFC wants for him, the fans want for him, right? Or if Glover wants to fight for him, right? Because we know that he holds Glover to share in high regard. I don't see Jamahal Hill getting past Yuri Prohashka, actually. I think if you asked me before all of this stuff happened, I would have taken Jamahal Hill. I think the wildness of Yuri Prohashka plays against Jamahal Hill, and I think he can kind of like go with it and get into that brawl. But if Yuri comes out and is just a little bit more calculated, I think he can get Jamahal Hill. I don't think he's as good as he thinks. Good fighter, but I just don't see it happening that way.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I think the big thing is Yuri's ability to come at you from different directions and to set up things that you would not think,
yes,
because Jamal is coming from, very traditional striking in the sense of like, what to look out for. You're looking out for hands, you're looking out for kicks. Yuri's gonna get a little weird. And I feel like a lot of the times that creativeness that he has throws his opponents off.
for sure. And I think it takes a second to get used to in there, and you can see most of his fights where his opponents are kind of struggling to figure out that awkwardness and whether or not they can find their own entries because all of those looks do give you a small pause, right? So even if you're not biting on every feint, sometimes Yuri is just going to throw out a weird shot, and you're like, shit, maybe I need to like not get hit by that next one, and all of a sudden like you start biting on every single feint, and I think when me and you are watching fights, you'll hear me go like he's biting on everything now. Like
Yeah.
like it's like something's bad's about to happen because that's when a real setup happens and that's when you start to see some really bad shots sometimes. But Steven Shred, this has been an awesome one. It's good to be back. And for all of you that are still watching, thank you so much. We're going to keep this going. We have UFC 311 coming up, and we do have another video with that in mind. So, that being said, Steven Shred, thank you, sir. As
Yeah.
always, we'll catch you on the next one.
See ya.